Hey friends! Today I am sharing with you a video that has been requested over the past few months, and that is a demonstration of all of my different hand lettering fonts or writing styles, whatever you'd like to call it. I know that I write in a variety of different ways throughout my videos, so I thought that I'd break down the most common ones for you and give you a little demonstration, and I will post the links in the description box below for the products that I'm using in case you are wondering. So number one is just my everyday print style. This is just super basic, even, quick, and really nothing fancy. I don't always write this neatly, which you will see in my next one, but when I have an extra moment to take my time, this is pretty much what my print looks like. So number two is what I'm calling my in a hurry writing, which is probably what I use most often. It's a combination of some cursive and some print, and sometimes I connect the letters and sometimes I don't. As you can see, it is kind of a hot mess. I definitely don't use this print for anything that other people will see, like I'm not writing letters writing like this. But I am all about being real with you, and it is true. Sometimes my handwriting is super messy and super sloppy, and that is just life when you are trying to save time and write quickly. And I have definitely seen other lettering artists say that they have really sloppy handwriting, and so if you think that you cannot do hand lettering because you have sloppy handwriting, do not worry. It's not really the same thing at all. How we write with our script or everyday writing is a lot different than hand lettering, so there is hope for everyone, at least I think so. Number three is one that you have probably seen before on this channel, and I'm just using a slightly thicker felt tip pen than the Papermate Flares because I think that it looks a little better with a slightly thicker pen. This is similar to my everyday print, except for it has a little more style and a little bit more character. I love this style, especially the capital letters mixed with brush lettering, which I just think gives it a fun design effect. And I also like to mix the lowercase and uppercase letters if I want to just add some extra style or variation to my lettering. Number four is an angled brush lettering, and it's kind of hard to see just how angled it is because I have the camera at a slight angle too so that you can see the lettering better. But with this style of brush lettering, I'm writing at more of a slant than an upright like I do oftentimes in brush lettering. This isn't actually my preferred style of brush lettering, and I do naturally tend to write more straight up and down, but there are certain pens that this just doesn't work that well with. And so in these instances, I do find myself writing with a much more strong slant like I am doing in this demonstration here. So I just wanted to show you this versus the upright style because there is a difference, and I do both and I kind of flip back and forth, but it's not unintentional even though it might seem like it. And honestly, sometimes experimenting with the angle of your lettering can help you develop your perfect style and what you specifically like. And on top of that, changing up the size of your pen also can make a big difference in the appearance of your letters, even though the technique is the same. So I just kind of wanted to show you those to give you a little visual so that you can see. I know sometimes it's hard to pick out exactly what the differences are, but you know it's different. So I just wanted to point that out, that even though it's a slight difference, it is definitely there and it is definitely intentional depending on which pen I'm using. So now I'm going to show you number five, which is my most preferred style, at least I think it is, and what you probably most often see on Instagram, which is more of an upright brush lettering, but a simplified version. When I created the simplified lettering beginner bundle, I transformed a lot of my more complicated letters into the simpler style, and I kind of fell in love with it. So I've pretty much written almost exclusively in this style since I created that worksheet set, and I just love the evenness of it and how it looks so uniform, but it's still a simpler style of lettering than the others that I have used in the past. And if you're not really sure what makes it so simple, I will leave a link in the description box below for the video that kind of explains what I changed and how I made it just simplified and just a little bit easier for beginners. So I will leave a link in the description box below if you want to check out that video. So number six is a more romantic script style that I love to use. I love using a simple monoline pen for this. Microns are also another favorite that I like to use. And this lettering style is sort of similar to bouncy lettering, but you can notice that I'm not really bouncing my letters up and down off of the baseline. It kind of looks like that, but I'm mainly just adding these really long connecting tails to give it more of a whimsical look. but I'm not really bouncing up and down. So one thing that I'll mention about this style is that it does work a little bit better for shorter phrases, maybe just a word or two, but it's not super practical for longer phrases since it's pretty time consuming, and you also wouldn't fit many words onto each line because it does make your word really long. So this is the style of lettering that I often write over a block style of writing and kind of creates a layered look, and I think it's really pretty for bullet journal headers or titles or things that you want to stand out. And I will put a picture of an example of that here so that you can kind of see what I mean and just the combination with that block style. So number 7 is my bouncy lettering style. There's actually a lot of variation within this style of lettering, and even in my bouncy lettering ebook, I share 3 different styles that I use within the style of bouncy lettering, and that's just because with bouncy lettering, there's a lot of freedom to play with your letters and create something unique. So it's more of a freestyle version of hand lettering than what I showed you with the simplified brush lettering that was in number 5. So one way that this varies is by changing your pen size. And as you can see, when I use a larger brush pen, I have to leave a much smaller tail in between my letters with a more angled curve so that I can fit my letters closer together. So it's different, but the techniques that I use are very similar. And number 8 is one of the first ways that I learned to hand letter, and that is called faux calligraphy. Now, before I get into it, I know that I teach hand lettering on this channel and brush lettering, and sometimes people don't like even the mention of the word calligraphy. So before you get upset about it, I know the difference between calligraphy and hand lettering, but I didn't name it this. This is just a really common style of lettering, and it is very, very commonly called faux calligraphy. So that is what I'm going to refer to it as, but I promise you that I did not name this lettering style, and I do understand that calligraphy and hand lettering are different. So I just wanted to say that before anybody gets upset, and just show you this style of lettering. So with faux calligraphy, basically we are writing our letters in a script style, and then we're going to go back in and draw in the thickness to our downstrokes. So this kind of gives the illusion of brush lettering without actually having to master the pressure sensitivity of a brush pen. So with true brush lettering, we make these thickened thin strokes just by applying more pressure to our brush. But as you can see in faux calligraphy, I'm just drawing it in. So you also don't need a fancy pen to try this. You can simply just use a pencil, which is what makes it a really good place to start for beginners. But the downside is that it's pretty time consuming, which is one of the reasons why you don't see me often writing in this style. Brush lettering just comes a lot more quickly to me these days, and so I usually stick to that. But again, if you're a beginner, this is a great place to start, and it'll really help you focus on your letter formations before you start worrying about how much pressure to apply to your brush pen. Number 9 is the last one that I'm going to show you today, and that is the monoline script style. Basically, I'm writing my letters just like I would in brush lettering, but instead of a brush pen, I'm using a pen or a marker that doesn't get thicker as you apply more pressure. So I actually use this style very often in my day-to-day life. This is just one of my biggest tips for lettering, is just practice all the time, even if you don't have a brush pen. It doesn't have to be formal practice. This handwriting is often what I use to write my grocery list with, or what I write notes to someone with, or what I write in my planner with. Unless I'm writing something with really long sentences, I typically use this style, and I really think that it just helps to keep my hands used to lettering and how I form my letters, and kind of prevents me from not getting too rusty even when I'm not able to practice that often. So that is all for today's video. I hope that helps you to see that there are a lot of different ways that you can take your lettering, and it doesn't really have to be perfect all the time. My style is constantly changing and growing, and I honestly think it probably always will be. These different lettering habits and techniques have developed over the course of years of practice, and I just expect to always be learning. So if you're someone who has felt frustrated by your lettering not looking like someone else's, just know that we all started somewhere, and we all probably went through a lot of changes to get to the style that you're seeing today. So I just hope that helps you to brush off the discouragement and just keep practicing. So thank you so much for watching and supporting this channel and subscribing, and thank you for your video suggestions. This is something I probably wouldn't have thought to make if it hadn't been requested, so I really appreciate all of the recommendations. If you would like to see more lettering videos or tips throughout the rest of the week, you can follow me on Instagram. It is just at howtohandletter, where I post mini lettering videos and other lettering photos. So if you have any other questions, you can feel free to leave them in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!